Welcome back. We finally got to see the full intro cinematic for Baldur's Gate 3, and the ending is pretty exciting. In today's video, we're going to do an unscripted deep dive into the full intro cinematic from start to finish. This video should really benefit you if you're just now getting into the Baldur's Gate 3 hype, or maybe you haven't really looked too much into the newly released ending. Since it's unscripted, I'll likely miss some things, forget some things, and probably not articulate things that well, but guess what? I freaking love this game, and I sure as hell love talking about it. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to some of my recent patrons, Alistair, Richard, Foreman Lord, and Michael Geyer, and thank you for your service, Michael. I really appreciate it. And also thank you to a recent channel member, Jorge or George, and what the hell, thank you to Elizabeth and Hannah for purchasing merch from the Wolf Apparel merch store. Guys, you're honestly changing my life, and I really appreciate the support. Links to my Twitter and my Discord server will be below. Let's get into the deep dive. Let's do it. So I don't mean to pause it already, but this is a deep dive, so let's get right into it. So this creature that you guys see right here is, it looks like an octopus alien type creature. It's known as a mind flayer, also called an illithid. Now, illithids were evil, sadistic, psionic masterminds, and they survive off of feeding on intelligent brains, which, yeah, could be your brain or my, actually, probably not my brain. But anyways, they survive off of feeding on intelligent brains. If your brain isn't eating, you're likely to be taken as a slave. Now, mind flayers are originally from far away planes of existence, but way back in the day, a long time ago, they had a vast empire and they're doing really well. But unfortunately, actually fortunately, because nobody wants mind flayers to take over all of the worlds, fortunately, the slaves of that empire rebelled and destroyed the mind flayer empire, scattering mind flayers to all different places. And one of the places that the mind flayers came to was the same planet that Baldur's Gate is located on, specifically underneath the continent of Faerun, and Baldur's Gate is in Faerun, and underneath Faerun is the Underdark, and this is a vast network of dark tunnels and corridors, and the mind flayers have established cities and colonies down there. One of the most famous mind flayer cities is known as Arindal. The mind flayer overall as a race is still trying to recuperate from the rebellion that they experienced, but they're working on that by trying to dominate basically everybody that they come across. So above the mind flayer right here, this is known as an elder brain. Elder brains are like the central hub of a mind flayer society, and they're basically the colony's leaders. So they can telepathically communicate with all of the mind flayers in their colony, and so basically all the mind flayers work for the elder brain. Now, mind flayers, when they die, they actually give their brain to an elder brain, and the elder brain becomes more powerful. Now, there are some mind flayers that escape this hive colony. I don't even want to say escape, because a lot of mind flayers like being a part of the elder brain, but there are some that leave, and they're known as renegade illithids. And there's also a more powerful type of a mind flayer called a eulitharid. Some people pronounce it differently, and eulitharids are so powerful and smart that they can't be a part of the colony. The elder brain doesn't want them there, and they don't want to be there because they don't want to be controlled. And eulitharids will leave a mind flayer colony, take a couple mind flayers with them, form their own colony, and when the eulitharid dies, their brain actually becomes an elder brain. So that's kind of how this whole weird alien type process goes. But the elder brain and mind flayers, they just want to seek dominion or dominance over all other races and anything that they come in contact with. So let's let it play a little bit. So this bulb looking thing you see right here is a brine pool. So brine pools typically have an elder brain in them, and that's how the elder brain feeds, and they live in the brine pool. But if you'll notice, there is no elder brain within this brine pool. Thank you to Red Kel on my Discord server for pointing this out. So actually, wow, all right. Jamal Garmin, thank you. I never turn that off, do I? So anyways, this brine pool is actually fuel for the ship that the mind flayer is on, and you're going to see that there's also some weird little alien-like creatures within the brine pool. And here's our first experience with actually seeing a mind flayer in this cinematic, a real mind flayer. As you can see, they can levitate and do all sorts of psionic type stuff. So we have to pause it here, of course. So this is Lizelle, who's actually going to be a playable origin character in the game. And Lizelle is actually part of a race known as the Gith, specifically the Gift Yankee for her. And long ago, the Gith were the race that was enslaved by the mind flayers for thousands and thousands of years. until they rebelled and destroyed the Empire. And this is where the Gith race split into two. You have the Gift Yankee, and then you have the Gift Zerai. So the Gift Yankee made it their life mission to just always hunt down mind flayers. They want revenge. They're always seeking vengeance, and they basically hunt and find mind flayers and colonies and sever their heads and bring their heads back to their queen, and that's what they live for. While the Gift Zerai didn't want to make it their entire existence based on revenge. So they split into two, and they are separate races, even though they're still kind of part of the same race. But anyways, Lizelle is a Gift Yankee, and it's really cool to see the Gift Yankee race in this game. So now, the Gift Yankee also have an ability to travel to different planes because they're not actually from Faerun, just like the Mind Flayers. But they do possess some psionic type abilities that they gained from the Mind Flayers during their enslavement. They're enslaved for so long that they adapted some of these psionic abilities. It's a pretty cool race. So here's the Brine Pool. And you're going to notice right away that we're picking up these weird looking maggot things. They're actually known as tadpoles. Now, once or twice in a mind flayer's lifespan, they'll lay a clutch of eggs, and out of the eggs hatches a tadpole, or tadpoles. And if a tadpole can survive in a brine pool for 10 years, it means that they've reached maturity. And a tadpole that's mature can then be implanted into a humanoid's brain, and that humanoid will turn into a mind flayer themselves through a process known as seromorphosis. I believe it takes about 7 days for the entire transformation to take place, and you're going to see what this mind flayer is doing right here. He's trying to create, he or she, mind flayers are actually sexless, but he or she, well, I don't even know what to call it, but this mind flayer is trying to create more mind flayers, obviously, by inserting these tadpoles into Lizelle's brain. I remember seeing this scene for the first time. It was quite jarring. I don't got a reaction for you guys. I've seen this too many times to do a fake reaction. People on my Discord server made an emoji from a reaction video. I hate reaction videos though. They're stupid. So this is obviously us as a character, and we're getting we're getting a tadpole implanted into our brain too. So this is kind of a big part of the plot in Baldur's Gate 3. When we start the game, we're going to have tadpoles in our brains, and we're basically fighting to beat that timetable of turning into a mind flayer. But we've already been told that we're not actually going to turn into a mind flayer within that 7 days like you're supposed to. It's actually going to start giving us weird psionic and special powers, and we're going to be fighting our willpower on whether we want to embrace these powers, these evil powers, or really work on trying to get the tadpole out of your brain. This is a really interesting plot for Baldur's Gate 3. Man, the cinematics are so good. Larian did such a great job. I can't wait to get to the end, guys. I know most of you have seen it, but that's what I really wanted to talk about because we've already seen all this. I've got it up on 2 screens here. Oh, you guys can see my mouse. I'm sorry, I should have turned that off. So, the Mind Flayer is on something known as a Nautiloid, which is a Mind Flayer ship. And these are actually very, very rare to see because the Mind Flayer race as a whole has been scattered and hurt so bad by the Gift Yankee. The fact that we're seeing a Mind Flayer ship is actually crazy. And especially you're going to see where this Nautiloid ship is, and it's actually on the same continent as Baldur's Gate. This Nautiloid ship is modified in some ways because it's going to have some special powers that you're going to see here. Now, this is the city of Yartar, which is a city, a prosperous city, a crowded city, which is way north of Baldur's Gate and inland a little bit. And this knight right here, or this soldier, is part of a group. We're assuming the Shields of Yartar, because the Shields of Yartar are the city's guard for this city. And the emblem, the logo, I couldn't find anything on that logo, but I think that must be what it symbolizes. It only makes sense because it has been confirmed that this is the city of Yartar. So the Nautiloid ship is flying over this city, and this is very, very concerning for anybody on the continent of Faerun or on the planet of Toril. And you're going to see what it does here. So this is why it's a modified Nautiloid ship, because I don't think Nautiloid ships typically have the ability to teleport people up into the ship. And you'll notice that all these people are getting teleported into these pods, and wait, oh crap, we gotta go back a little bit. All the people are getting teleported into these pods right here, and we're assuming that this mind flayer is going to put tadpoles into their brains to create more mind flayers. Now you notice that there's a dead mind flayer right here. He looks really unhealthy, very malnourished. So there's something going on with the mind flayers. It could have something to do with the war that they're in against the Gift Yankee. We don't really know for sure, but these mind flayers appear to be malnourished, and there seems to be only one that's alive, and that mind flayer is trying to create some sort of army of mind flayers to do something, and we're gonna find out. We gotta pause right here. So right here is a Gift Yankee again, the same race as Lizelle, the one that we just talked about. And the Gift Yankee is obviously going after the mind flayers like they always do. And they're riding on the back of red dragons. So there's some interesting lore behind this. I won't get too much into it. But the Gift, a long time ago, once they escaped their imprisonment from the mind flayers, made a deal with the evil goddess dragon named Tiamat. And in this deal, Tiamat gave the Gift race, or gave the Gift Yankee race, permission, or ordered a bunch of young red dragons to serve as mounts for the Gift Yankee. And in return, it's a little bit blurry as to what she was getting in return, but most people think that in return, Tiamat is getting the Gift Yankee service when she needs them. The Gift Yankee is pretty powerful, so it's actually kind of a good deal that goes both ways. So anyways, she gives all these red dragons up to the Gift Yankee race. These are young red dragons, because when a red dragon becomes an adult, they no longer have to serve the Gift Yankee, and they actually hate serving the Gift Yankee, but it's part of the deal. But it makes for a really interesting story. So these Gift Yankee are attacking the Nautiloid ship, obviously trying to kill the mind flayer. It's a really good scene. Really good way to hype people up about this game. Probably one of the best intro cinematics actually I've seen in a while. You can see the mind flayer's got all of these special abilities to control things with his mind, basically. So the red dragon's obviously trying to blow up the ship. He needs to reach the brine pool, the fuel pool. But the Nautiloid ship has an ability to travel between different planes of existence. But unfortunately, well, I don't know why I keep saying unfortunately, because we want the mind flayer to die, but the Gift Yankee also have the ability to travel to different planes of existence. And the plane that this Nautiloid has traveled to is known as Shadowfell. Now, I don't want to talk too much about Shadowfell because we're not sure if it's actually going to be a big part of the game or not. But Shadowfell is basically a plane of existence. It almost like mirrors the material plane. Just think of the material plane as like the plane that you're on right now, or the plane that your character is going to be mostly on in Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is located in the material plane. And Shadowfell is like not a mirror image, but it's located basically on top of the material plane, and you can get to it through certain dark areas, even through shadows. You can actually reach the Shadowfell plane, and it's an interesting plane because it's really dark and it has like these undead shadow creatures. But when you die, your soul has to travel through this plane to reach a different plane where it is ultimately judged and determined if your soul is going to go to hell, or I guess you could say heaven. I won't get too specific, but Shadowfell is a really cool plane, and it's cool that we're flying through it right now. I didn't know that it gets icy, but it has been confirmed that this is Shadowfell. The red dragons don't appear to care too much that Lizelle is on the ship, so it makes me think that she's not allied with these Gift Yankee, or they just don't care and they want the mind flayer dead that bad. Alright, so the red dragon goes for the kill, tries to blow up the ship, and it seemingly did, but the mind flayer ship also traveled to a different plane, and the Gift Yankee are unfortunately not able to follow this time. And as you can see, this red dragon's not too happy about it. This is where it starts to get really good. All right, so it appears that we are still either trapped in the pod or something, because we're going to follow Lizelle around now. The best part of the cinematic trailer. Welcome to Avernus, the uppermost layer of the 9 hells. Now, there's a lot going on in this scene right now. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the war that's going on. As you can see, there's like these missiles going around and there's explosions, and you can see creatures everywhere just battling it out. And what's going on is something known as the Blood War. This is a war that's been going on for a very long time, and it's a war between demons and devils. So demons are chaotic, evil creatures. They want the apocalypse. They want to destroy everything, no questions asked, no deals need to be made. Just see something, kill it. They want fire burning everywhere, and that's what a demon's life mission is to do. Now, devils are also evil creatures, but they're lawful evil, and they exist within a society, within a hierarchy, and they don't want everything to be destroyed, because if everything's destroyed, a devil is not going to have anything to do in life. So devils like to dominate other races. They like to control. They like to get souls from other races, and they have no one to enact their evil schemes on if there's no world left to do it on. So the devils want to kill the demons. Obviously, if the demons destroy everybody, the demons are trying to kill the devils too. But the devils are kind of like the frontline defense against the demons. The demons can travel to Avernus from this river right here, and this is known as the River Styx. Now, the River Styx is also known as the Blood River, or used to be known as the Blood River. It runs through different layers of the 9 hells, and it also travels to different planes, and it's used as a method for traveling to different planes. And the demons, which are mostly from the plane called the Abyss, use the River Styx to travel into Avernus, and the devils try to basically fight them back. So that's what's going on with the Blood War right now. And these little things that you see right here are actually devil fortresses, and obviously they have a lot of war potential. And you see these swarms flying around each devil fortress, and these are actually imps. Imps are the lowest of the low of the devils in the devil hierarchy, and they're actually a pretty low level creature, but when they come at you in the thousands, then you have a major problem. So they're going right after the Nautiloid ship that we're on. And this is basically the end of the trailer. But this is really cool, guys. The fact that we're going to Avernus, it's been confirmed that the game is going to start here, and we're going to be trying to take control of this Nautiloid ship. I'm not sure where the Mind Flayer is. The Mind Flayer would typically destroy a party of level 1 characters, but the Mind Flayer might be dead, it might be hurt, it might be injured, who knows. But obviously the imps are coming at the ship, the Mind Flayer's on the ship, and we're going to try to take control of the Nautiloid ship and get the hell out of Avernus, because you don't want to be in Avernus. And this is a really, really interesting way to start the game. And we already know that after you do escape Avernus, I think everybody's going to ultimately escape Avernus. You're going to end up on Faerun. And I've started a lore series recently on the channel called the Baldur's Gate 3 History Descent into Avernus story. And Descent into Avernus is a D&D adventure that takes place right before Baldur's Gate 3 takes place. It's almost a prequel or a prologue to the story. So I definitely recommend you guys check out that lore series. I've done three or four episodes right now, and there's only a couple more to complete this story. But this is really interesting stuff, guys. The fact that we're going to the 9 hells is a really great way to start the game. And on top of that, you got an Illithid problem. There's so much going on. It's really cool. And I just want to start talking about Descent into Avernus right now, but I'd be here for hours, so I'm just going to end the video. I really appreciate you guys watching. Sorry for this. This is legit completely random right now. I'm just going off of what I see in the trailer, and I don't speak as well when I do this, but I know most of you guys have said you enjoy videos like this. So hopefully I spoke slow enough and well enough for you guys to understand for this little deep dive into the intro cinematic. There'll be much more Baldur's Gate 3 content to come. As I said, check out the lore series Descent into Avernus on my channel. A lot of good information in there, very helpful to know. I'll see you guys on the next one.